Shalom. My name is Rabbi Yafa Shira Sultan. I'm the Director of Spiritual Life at Seacrest Village. And we're gathered here today to learn a little bit about the Yamim Noraim, the days of awe, or the Jewish high holidays. This period is comprised of several holidays, one after another. Each one serves a different purpose for the Jewish people. The holidays always land in the fall, although they move between September and October depending on the year. The holidays being the Jewish high holidays. Jewish holidays begin in the evening and end at sunset on a later date. So some holidays last one day, others 2 days, some as long as 8 days in length. At Seacrest, the high holidays are major holidays, or what we often call quiet days, with particular restrictions, particular guidelines. So I encourage you to ask your supervisor or myself, or if you have access to the Outlook calendar, there are lists of the guidelines for the way that we observe the holiday here. So there are certain administrative tasks that we avoid, and other logistical tasks around the campus. So the first holiday is Rosh Hashanah, or Rosh Hashanah. Jews come from more than one place in the world, and so our holiday pronunciations, our Hebrew, may sound different if we come from Spain versus Eastern Europe. So in modern Hebrew today, we say Rosh Hashanah. Eastern European Jews often say Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah is a celebration of the Jewish New Year, and it lasts for 2 days, and it starts at night and then goes for the next 2 days and ends at sunset at the end of the second day. So for instance, in 2024, ours begins on Wednesday night, October 2nd, and goes through sunset on the 4th. Likewise, in 2025, it begins on a Monday night, September 22nd, and goes through the 24th. 2026, Friday evening, September 11th, and goes for 2 more days after that. And if you're still watching this in 2027, it's Friday evening, October 1st, and goes for 2 days after that. So we start with candle lighting on the night of the beginning of the holiday. And at Seacrest, I go around to each of the dining rooms and light the candles and say a blessing over the challah, and which we'll hear about in a second, over the bread, and say a few words about the holiday. Then on that first night, our community from all 4 buildings join us in the sanctuary, or the synagogue, at 6:30 in the evening as we begin the holiday. And there are evening services, evening prayers, certain melodies that are particular to the holiday. And then our services typically run between an hour and an hour and 45 minutes. As you know, on Saturday mornings, on our Shabbat mornings, we go for an hour and a half from 10 to 11:30. Okay, so now we have certain foods that are particular, unique to the holiday of Rosh Hashanah, and I'd like to point out a few of those. A beautiful challah made by our culinary team. This is unique because it is round. On the Jewish holiday of Rosh Hashanah, we eat round challah. It's called challah, and it's a type of bread. Really delicious, great if you make it as French toast the next day. So why do we eat a round challah on Rosh Hashanah? It symbolizes It symbolizes the natural cycle of the Jewish year, and that when one year ends, another one immediately begins. And we also, to symbolize hoping for a sweet year, dip the challah or apple slices in honey. It's a very sweet taste, and it's what we hope for, the sweetness of the new year. We also like to eat other foods that have honey in them, so you'll see honey cake. Our residents also like to have honey cake during the year, but the round challah and the apples and honey is reserved for Rosh Hashanah. The use of the apple symbolizes the natural cycle of the Jewish year as well because of its roundness. Now there's an object called a shofar that we blow on Rosh Hashanah and on the holiday of Yom Kippur, which I will speak about momentarily. This is a ram's horn. We blow it. The tradition is that you're supposed to blow it 100 times on Rosh Hashanah. At Seacrest, we don't blow it 100 times during our service. But it is sort of a wake-up call for us that a new year is beginning and that it is our responsibility at this time of year to look at our behavior and our relationship to ourselves, our relationship to friends, family, to all others, and our relationship to God. So this is a bit of a wake-up call, and I will be starting to blow it intermittently during the month leading up to Rosh Hashanah, and then it will be blown during Rosh Hashanah and at the very end of the holiday of Yom Kippur. This was originally blown in Jerusalem to mark the beginning of holidays. In the early part of, during the time of our temple, the first and second temples in Jerusalem, from 586 through 70 CE, we would blow this to let people all over Jerusalem know that it was time to come and pray. So, a shofar. We've also been just recently donated a massive shofar, a very large one, and that's the one we're going to be blowing on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur this year. This is a small one. So this holiday is reverent, it's happy, it's a joyous time. Yes, we made it through a new year and we're starting a new year. And so we have certain greetings, and these are greetings that I share with you now because it would be tremendously meaningful for our residents to hear them come from all of us, from our staff, from friends and family. And there are some of those greetings which you can say in English, and some, if you really want to put a smile on a person's face, that you can work on saying in Hebrew or in Yiddish, which is a Jewish Eastern European language in the home. It's a mix of German and Hebrew. So the first greeting is L'Shana Tova, L'Shana, for a year, Tova, of good. Again, if you're Eastern European, you might say L'Shana Tova. In our community, you're going to hear a lot of elders saying L'Shana Tova. The second greeting is that same greeting, L'Shana Tova, Happy New Year. And then it adds at the end of it, Umetuka, which is for a good and sweet year. L'Shana Tova, Umetuka. A very popular one as well is that you'll hear people walking around the hallways greeting each other with Good Yontiv. Gut in the German, or just good. Yontiv. Yontiv is Yom Tov, a good day. We say Good Yontiv to each other. And then lastly, one that has not been so easy if you haven't grown up with this sound, the last greeting that we say is Chag Sameach. Chag Sameach. Now the CH in the word Sameach, right? You're clearing your throat. It's not so easy for some of us to pronounce that. So if in case that is difficult, then I can suggest you just simply say Hag Sameach and just leave out the ch at the end. And that means happy holiday. So that's the holiday of Rosh Hashanah. Coupled with that it is a part of the Yamim Noraim, the days of awe, is the second holiday, and that is the holiday of Yom Kippur. Yom meaning day, Kippur being atonement. This is the one day out of the year where we focus. Prayer often lasts throughout the entire day, starting at night the night before, and then resuming in the morning, then in the afternoon and into the evening. We ask forgiveness from God for sins that we may have committed in the past year. This holiday, as you can imagine, is a reverent, serious holiday. It is not one where we greet each other with, yay, Lashana Tova, Happy New Year. But it is one in which we are commanded to take a look at our behavior. And then we have services at night, the first night, which is a very serious service. The melodies are also very austere. At 6:30 in the evening, we resume again the following morning at 10 o'clock, going through about 11:30, 11:45. And then return to prayer in the afternoon. There is a commandment in Judaism that this is a fast day, that we fast from sunset to sunset the next day. However, this is Seacrest, and there are other ways of reminding yourself that this is the holiday of Yom Kippur, so I discourage our elders from fasting on the holidays, fasting from food. I often suggest instead to think of something else that they can fast from, that they can keep themselves away from for that time. So the 2024 Friday night, October 11th, goes through the sunset on the 12th. 25, it's Wednesday night, October 1st, goes through sunset on the 2nd. 2026, it's Sunday night, September 20th through the 21st. And lastly, the 27th, 2027, Sunday night, October 10th through sunset on the 11th. And that holiday also includes the blowing of a shofar. This happens at sunset at the end of the holiday. We, in the same way that we did on Rosh Hashanah, I will be going to the different buildings and lighting the candles. Then residents will have their dinner, and then the fast begins, and they go to services in the evening in the sanctuary. We blow the shofar as well. You can also say Happy New Year, or may you be inscribed and sealed in the book of life for a good year, or you can say Good Yontiv, or even Chag Sameach. So those are the first two holidays to mention. The third holiday of the four that I wanted to mention is the holiday of Sukkot. All of these holidays this year come in the month of October, and they're very soon after each other. So the Jewish holiday of Sukkot, Eastern European Jews often pronounce it Sukkot, is a joyous holiday celebrating the fall harvest. The harvest as it is, as it falls, so to say, no pun intended, as it falls in Israel. So it's we celebrate the success of the Israeli harvest, and we build little booths or small huts, and they are called, I don't know if you can see it, but they are called Sukkot, and they are built outside with walls, and then we decorate the roofs of them. Each building will have a temporary building like this, and then we will be having meals lunches 4 times that week in the sukkah. So the holiday is called Sukkot, and we build we build a sukkah. So that symbol, the sukkah, what that stands for is, it is the small hut that Jews would build, little booths that Jews would build. The ancient farmers would build them and use them to sleep in right in the middle of their fields during the harvest, so they didn't go home. They didn't go back to their families where they reside, but rather stay right in the fields. Now these Sukkot, in the plural of sukkah, these Sukkot were also reminiscent of the temporary dwellings the Israelites made when they were traveling through the desert from Egypt to the land of Israel. So part of Sukkot is spent in the synagogue in prayer, and a lot of it is spent eating, drinking, sleeping, and generally dwelling in the sukkah. So we don't sleep here, but there is a tradition of sleeping in the sukkah. So at Seacrest, residents, our housekeeping team and a maintenance team build the sukkah and decorate it, and then our culinary team puts together lovely meals 3 to 4 days out of that time that we eat together. The holiday is 8 nights, and it overlaps with the next holiday I wanted to mention, which is called Simchat Torah. But before I mention Simchat Torah, I want to point out one more thing. On the holiday of Sukkot, we gather together these branches. So there's the date palm in the middle, a willow branch, and a myrtle branch, symbolizing the produce of the land of Israel. And this yellow that looks sort of like a lemon, which is called an etrog in Hebrew, otherwise known as a citron. We put hold it this way, we put the lulav and the citron together, and we shake them in all directions. And if you shake them, you can hear, it sort of sounds like rain, because this was a time when they were still praying for rain. So if you go past one of our Sukkot, the little huts, you will see each sukkah has these branches and the citron, the etrog. Okay, so going on, I mentioned Simchat Torah. So we have Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and Sukkot. The holiday of Sukkot is a joyous holiday. The very end of Sukkot takes us into 2 holidays that in our community we observe overlap together. They're called Shmini Atzeret and Simchat Torah. So Shmini Atzeret and Simchat Torah come at the conclusion of Sukkot, and in Israel and among liberal Jews and at Seacrest, these holidays are combined together at the conclusion of Sukkot. Shmini Atzeret means the 8th day of assembly. The holiday of Sukkot was such a joyous time that the Israelites, some will say the Israelites didn't want to leave Jerusalem, so they added a day onto Sukkot, and they called it Shmini Atzeret, the 8th day of assembly. It signifies the 8th day of the gathering of the Israelites in Jerusalem to offer thanks for a successful harvest. And then Simchat Torah means rejoicing in Torah, and it is a celebration of the completion of the yearly reading of the 5 books of Moses, or Torah. The final portion of the book of the 5 books of Moses is the book of Deuteronomy. It is read in the synagogue, that last chapter of Deuteronomy, and then we immediately go to the beginning of the 5 books of Moses and read the first few phrases of Genesis. And in this manner, the annual cycle of Torah readings continues unbroken. So it's read in its totality, technically, every year. And then Simchat Torah is a joyous time with dancing. I have here a mini Torah. This is what it looks like on the outside. It's often a velvet cover, and then the parchment is rolled together on the inside. And we have larger ones in the synagogue. This is a mini one that I like to use with residents so that they can each hold it themselves and we dance around with it. So this is my personal Torah. So on Simchat Torah, we dance around. We dance around with the Sifrei Torah, the books of the Torah, that parchment, and with flags. We eat apples and honey. We wish each other a good Yontiv, a good day, a Chag Sameach, a happy holiday. All of the greetings that we said earlier in our in the presentation that I gave today. So those are the main holidays. This is considered the most sacred time out of the Jewish year. And I thank all of you for your efforts to learn a little bit more about these holidays and to help our residents and our Jewish staff and all of us to observe this holiday in whatever way we might want to. And thank you for the ways that you help us bring meaning to these holidays. Have a blessed day. Bye.